What is up, ladies and gents? My name is Self, and today I will help you make the decision of whether you should be rolling on Hu Tao, Venti, or Childe's upcoming banner. I want to start this off by making the most obvious statement. If you really want one of these three characters in particular, just roll for them. End of story. Don't let me or anyone else decide that for you. I want you to decide that for yourself. But if you are completely torn between the three and are currently saving up all your hard-earned primo gems, trying to decide which one to roll on, I understand your pain. It's hard when you really only have enough gems to roll for one character, so I'm going to let you know about a variety of factors that I use myself when it comes to deciding on rolling upcoming banners. Generally, there are 4 factors that I use to decide when I want to roll on a character, and they are the following: character, team comp viability and role, how strong or how broken they are, and playstyle fun fact. Now, these are just my metrics, and all of you are free to have your own as well. My goal isn't to tell you which character is the must-pull, broken, insane character in the game, but just to help you come to a conclusion of who you really want to roll for in the end, because this is ultimately your decision. There are different elements when it comes to a character: lore, design, voice acting, and personality, among other things. If you love April Fool's Day and pulling pranks, then maybe Hu Tao is your character. If you love the backstory of the 7 Archons and you're trying to collect them like the Dragon Balls, then go with Venti. However, if you love characters with hats, then you're SOL, because technically all these characters have hats and are members of #HatGang. Is a mask that you put on top of your head considered a hat? Anyway, this aspect is completely subjective, however, so it's more of up to whether or not you prefer one character over the others in terms of lore and different things. But I just wanted to put this one out there because for some people, character can be a massive influence on their decision. Now, the next factors are more gameplay related and would be hard to analyze for any unreleased or leaked characters. However, in this case, we have 2 reruns, so we already know everything about these guys, so we don't have to worry about that. Genshin can ultimately be played however you want to, and that is the beauty of the game. But when it comes to certain domains or things like Abyss, having the right balance of elements and knowing the roles of every character on your team can make your life a lot easier. Knowing what units pair really well with each other is another video in itself, but I'm going to boil it down just a little bit to simplify. Each team you have generally will want a main carry, some sort of sub-carry, also known as a burst unit, and a mix of support units. These support units have a wide range of applications such as healing or damage mitigation, among other things, and these support units can also be damage dealers as well, but they offer more utility as well than just straight damage. In the case of these 3 banner units, it is important to know that Hu Tao is a Pyro main or sub-carry unit, Childe is a Hydro main or sub-carry unit, and Venti is an Anemo sub-carry and support unit. Hu Tao can be both a main carry unit or a burst damage unit. She can be on the field for short or extended periods of time to dish out mad damage. The playstyle is a hybrid of both Childe and Keqing, as she does the most damage with her charge attacks, but while her elemental skill is active. There will be a little bit of downtime between skill cooldowns, so you can either keep attacking with her, or swap to other units and use their abilities to either support her by healing and shielding, or through their element such as Hydro, so you can deal a ton of vaporized damage. Because of all this, there is a little bit of a learning curve, as you will need to master things like stamina management, jump cancelling, and juggling support abilities off cooldown timers, but if you can master these things, she will be as strong as Diluc, if not even stronger. Much like Hu Tao, Childe can be a main carry or a sub-carry, except he has even more caveats to his kit than Hu Tao at Constellation 0. Unlike Hu Tao, his main ability will have a massive cooldown between uses if you want him to be the main carry unit. So much so that you will often want some sort of secondary main carry unit, or multiple support units that can deal damage such as Fischl and Xiangling. He is able to deal large amounts of damage, and is Hydro type, so he is capable of enabling some of the best reactions in the game. But he is just limited by that long cooldown timer. Because of this, I feel that at Constellation 0, his strongest suit is being a sub-carry or a burst DPS, where he can swap in, deal some damage with his elemental ability, and then use the ult before swapping away to another unit. This way, he can deal Riptide damage and Hydro that can enable you to do something like a Vaporize. Venti is more of a support or sub-DPS unit. He usually doesn't have or need a ton of field time to do his thing. His abilities are focused on massive crowd control and dealing insane amounts of reaction swirl damage. In addition to these swirl procs, a Viridescent Venerer set can lower enemy resistances to help you deal even more damage on top of his own damage. And on top of that, his last Ascension talent ability will help your entire party because he helps recover energy so quickly. But despite having all of these pros, Venti is never really your main guy. He's not the main carry. He's more of an Alfred the Butler type. Now, before you want to say, oh, he's not even Robin, he must suck, keep in mind one thing. There is a Batman without Robin, but there is no Batman without Alfred. Alfred is the linchpin to the operation, don't forget that. So, if you have a lot of Alfreds on your roster but no Batman, you can probably see where I would recommend you start rolling on. The same goes with the opposite. Take a good look at your main units and your supports and see which pieces would fit your puzzle better. Typically, this is something that I would heavily research when new characters come out to see if they are worth my investment of 10 million Primo Gems because my luck sucks. All of these characters are extremely strong. However, I would have to say that in terms of power level, Tartaglia is probably the weakest in Constellation Zero, but not by a whole lot. It's simply because the other two are so incredibly strong and his cooldown is so much higher than the others. Venti is by far the easiest character to use, as the other two do have some learning curves, but please do not let that detract you from your decision of who you want to roll for. This is not like playing Dark Souls or an MMO where you have to learn 10 different mechanics. All you really need to do is learn some proper timing and a couple extra mechanics if you're going to be at Constellation Zero. However, if we were in some Fantasyland scenario where you owned every character but these three somehow, and you were to ask me which of the three are the best in order, I would probably have to rank them Venti first, the Hu Tao second, Childe third, but again, this is just simply my opinion in a vacuum. Please do not let it detract you from who you want to roll for. Keep in mind, there's a variety of different factors that go into every team as well, like artifact RNG and the weapons you have as well. Now this is the most important factor out of everything. A character might be one of the most broken units in the game, and may be a type that reacts well with your team, but if you hate the way they play, don't roll for them, period. This was a huge factor in deterring me from rolling on the Ganyu banner. While I love her character, and I could really use a cryo unit, I just personally do not like the way the aim shot playstyle works, so I decided not to roll for her. The single most important thing that you should do is to do the test runs when they come out. And you can do these multiple times. You can stress test the character to their limits, you can try a whole bunch of different things, get a feel for the character, because this is what you're going to be spending your hard-earned Primo Gems on. If you hate how the character plays, then you can stop and save your gems. Please, do not roll for a character that you know you will not enjoy, because that will take the pleasure out of the game. And likewise, if you are hesitant to roll on someone, but you love the way they play in the showcase, then just roll on them. It will increase your overall fun of the game, and that's the most important thing when playing Genshin. Now there's some small things that I also want to go over briefly that I couldn't really go into depth, but I'm just going to mention them now. Hu Tao can literally phase through enemies and leave behind a trail of butterflies, which is neat as hell, but she doesn't offer much in terms of world exploration help. And Childe is a bow user, which is fantastic at solving those puzzles, but so is Venti. And Venti can generate wind currents that can literally let you fly, allowing you to get to hard to reach places or skip climbing certain sections entirely, which is a lot more useful than you might think. So I would say that Venti has the edge in this in the end as well. And I do not want to forget about stressing the importance of 4-star units. If you could really use some of the 4-star units on a particular banner because they can help you or your team out, or let's just say for instance you really love Rosaria's character, then you can spend a few rolls on them as well. Some of the best support units in the game are 4-stars, so don't ignore them either. In the end, the decision is up to you. There are a number of factors that can influence your decision, as small or as big as they may be, and they can be something like, do you hate pranksters because they ruined YouTube 8 years ago? Then don't roll for Hu Tao. Do you hate drunk bards because World of Warcraft tainted them for you years ago? Don't roll on Venti. Do you hate rich sugar daddies? Then that's a no on the Tartaglia ban. There is no hard set rule or anything. Pick the character that you like and the one that you think fits your team best and playstyle. Or you can just let the gacha gods decide for you. And that's when you get Jean. So, who will I be picking? Yeah, I have no idea who I'm gonna pick. And that's the end, ladies and gentlemen. If you enjoyed the video or learned something new, I hope that you'll stick around for more by subscribing. Until next time, folks, peace out everyone. Have a fantastic day.